It's 4:30, June the 10th. This is 4:30 a.m. And I don't know what that is. It's all by itself. Very strong lights. And it's rectangular, but it's almost it's about twice as long than it is high. And it has all these strong lights, and there's absolutely nothing else around it. It's just all by itself. And there's nothing on the bottom of it. It looks suspended in midair. And there's absolutely nothing on the bottom of it. And it's really high up. And that's it's not on anything. It's suspended and it's high up. Now, there's some buildings way behind it by the lake, but they're pretty far behind it, maybe a kilometer behind it. And this is like right in the middle of nowhere, just suspended like that. And all these lights, and there are no poles or anything there. There is nothing at all on the bottom of this. There's no poles. Just lights in this box-like thing. And it's not on anything or suspended from anything. It's really high up. It's a couple of 100 feet off the ground for sure. And now, look how he changed shape. It's all hexahedrons. It was square just a minute ago. I mean rectangle. Did you see that? It changed right in front of the camera. So that's some kind of a vessel, for sure. Look at that. It's hexahedrons right now. And just before it was a rectangular thing. Now it's glowing a lot. Okay, here it's back to lights. Okay. I have no idea what this is. I've never seen it before. We can see orbs all over the place in the air, but they're small in comparison. And it has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 or 6 bright lights, and those bright lights are large orbs or orb clusters, and you can see that there's a lot of smaller orb clusters that look like snow all over, but there are larger orb clusters right in front of it, and it just turned into a few hexahedrons just before. Look at this orb, how round it is right there on the bottom. This one and the one on top of it. They're smaller but very round. Now they don't look anything like these ones. They're very bright, much brighter, and look at the shape of them. And there seems to be something on that corner. And I don't know what that is. Right there, on that corner. Some kind of a energy field, it looks like to me. And this corner, it has the orbs. And even smaller orbs, they're the yellow ones on the very corner. And then some, lots of small white orbs all over. And that's what it looks like, and it's really high up in the air, a couple of 100 feet for sure. And it has those 3 very bright orbs on the bottom, the 2 on the left being larger, and the one on the right, just off the right corner, bottom, is smaller and very round and less bright than the other ones. And then there's one on the bottom of all of them, and on the bottom of the thing on the left hand side, and the thing looks like a box, and has no writing, nothing. This is a clear shot of it, being that the orb, there's a lot of orbs in the air. I mean, it's as clear a shot as you can get. And those orbs in the front, the clusters, they're very bright. But the whole thing, the clusters in that box-like structure is in midair. And look at that. I'm just going to back it up a little bit more. That's what it looks like. And you're just suspended in midair. And there's absolutely nothing around there. I know that because I take a lot of video there in the daytime. And there's woods below that, but they're like at least 100 or more feet, a couple 100 feet down. And this is high up in the air. I'd say it's about 250 to 300 feet up from the ground. Look, there's nothing at all around it. I can judge by the height of those new street light poles. They're pretty high. They're like almost 100 feet or more up in the air. So this thing is a lot higher than the poles. And it's just suspended. I have no clue what it is. I've never seen it before. And there it is. It's not structure of any sort, and it's not near any structure. The buildings behind it are a kilometer behind it, and there's nothing around it or below it. It's just suspended, and before the whole thing changed into just hexahedrons. Now I don't know if those clusters changed into hexahedrons to block the view of that thing, because the hexahedrons covered the whole thing. But that is odd. I've never seen that one before. I just want to see this little cluster here on the right hand side, or that's in the middle right now. There's a lot of energy all around it. Just back this off a little bit. There's a lot of energy around that whole thing, especially on the left bottom corner. There's a lot of energy on that side. So I don't know what that is. Yeah, that's a new one for me. But it's a definite solid object. suspended in midair, about 250 feet or 300 feet from the ground, with nothing else around that whole area. It's just by itself, and those 4 big lights, 3 on the bottom of it, and 1 below them, and there's nothing very close to them or anything like that. It's just in the middle of nowhere. So that whole area there is just nothing there. There are buildings right behind that, but they're about 1 kilometer behind that. There's a whole big complex, and that makes up part of the skyline. But this is between the lake shore part and central Toronto. And that area has nothing but woods. So I'm not going to say what it is because I don't know. But I just saw it change before, and it was not lens flare. It just changed. It changed while I was backing off from it, not going to it. And it stayed like that for a few seconds. I don't know what it is. It looks like it's a solid object, and it looks like a box, and it's rectangular, and it has a lot of orbs, both glowing white and yellow orbs there on the right hand side. And looks like it has a large energy field there. I don't know if that's a propulsion system right there. It's possible that the bottom is some sort of propulsion system, especially there on the left hand side. And those lights could be just lights on the bottom of it. And that could be a propulsion system. It looks like there's some kind of energy coming out of there. I've never seen anything square like that or rectangular like that flying before. It's definitely not a streamlined object, but it looks like it has a lot of power. It doesn't need streamlining. I mean, that's a lot of power. Whatever kind of power it is, it's a lot of power. Look at this whole side. It looks like there's power coming out of that side. The whole thing looks like it's surrounded in one large energy field. And there's a clear shot. You could see the energy just going all around it. And it's hovering. You can see it slightly moving, and the camera is not moving at all. So the object is hovering, and you can see the slight hover. So it's not on anything or attached to anything. It's in a hover, and you can see that it's slightly in motion up and down every now and then. So it's trying to maintain a hover, and you can see the energy just streaming all across it and changing. It's like a force field of some sort. This is the weirdest one I've seen that's like a box. I mean, I've never seen one like that. It's not streamlined whatsoever, but it looks like it's got all kinds of energy, and it doesn't seem to maybe work like the flying vehicles we use, like jets or anything like that. This looks like something that came from someplace else, and it's just really different. I don't know what it is. I'm not gonna start guessing, but it is a solid object about 250 feet to 300 feet up in the air in the middle of sort of nowhere. There's nothing around it or below it. It's suspended and it's in a hover. You can see that it's hovering the way it's moving. So I'll just leave it there because I don't know what it is. I'll just let the camera do its thing, because I went close up and there's really only energy and stuff like that. It's better to look at it from here and show what it's gonna do, but you can tell it's in a hover because it's moving up and down a little bit. It's not steady. The camera is not moving at all. I am not even outside. I'm shooting through a window inside the house, and the window is open. There's no glass or anything, and this did change before, and it looked like a couple of hexahedrons that blocked the whole image, and it was not lens glare. So you could see it hovering and moving slightly up and down. It's in a pretty steady hover. I mean, I don't know any helicopter that could do it like that for this long without moving even more. But it's definitely in a hover. And that's the weirdest thing I've seen. And you can see on the on the left-hand side bottom, there's a lot of energy there on that side, and you can see that on the bottom in the middle there's a lot of energy, and that large light or orb cluster, I think it's an orb cluster, but the whole like just pulsating with energy. Look at that. And that's a lot of energy. Whatever it is, it's got power. And that's a lot of power. I mean, it's rare to see that kind of power like that. So, we'll back up a little bit.